Oh, he curved? He's going right for that diaper booty. He might go so crazy from just the answers and seeing what he can do that he might just like blow his brains out. Is that a little extreme? Maybe. But I see the vision here. Bro literally dropped out on his first day going to school? What the fuck? That's the thing though, is even though there's like these bullies, like they're legitimately good. It's just we end up better than them. Bro's gonna go back home and have collected like every magic known to man, like it's the Infinity Stones, and somehow his mom's gonna like shove a spike up his ass and he's still not gonna be good enough. We're gonna need him to skewer from multiple directions so it can't jump and dodge. Oh god, we're having BBQ tonight, baby. This show is mostly fast food, and it's enjoyable fast food, but like, I think this episode got out of the junk food category, if I'm being real. At the end of the day, I think Hero Without a Class is a pretty competent series, mainly because I truly believe the author, if you were to tell them, hey, I think your show's really dumb, or your manga's really dumb, but it's really enjoyable, would probably say, yeah, that's kind of the point. I'd be really shocked to learn that the author's like, no, I was really trying to make a very serious story, something that you would not look at and say, oh, that's dumb, because at the end of the day, there would have to be too many happy accidents for an author. It'd be like coming out with the Rent-a-Girlfriend author and trying to have the author of that convince you it's not a self-insert fantasy, you know? Hero Without a Class, I truly believe, knows what it wants to be, and that's why it's so unapologetically fun. Because in an episode where you essentially have the MC take his test, right? Because essentially, bro drops out of school. First day, mind you, pretty much drops out of school. Like, yeah, I can't learn from these people. And then the people he can learn from are like, man, you're really good, so you're gonna get a promotion exam. Makes sense. He's, you know, just really good. Goes up against the superior Minotaur. Dude should be bum rushing anyone, and what happens? He gets bum rushed instead. Try to do a fire lance, that doesn't work, so he does a little loop-de-loop, and he goes right up the ass. He went in with no lube, baby. He made a Minotaur essentially call him daddy. He was, from one penetration, that thing couldn't move, and then he got evaporated. If that isn't the dumbest and most entertaining shit, I don't want to live on this planet anymore. But here's the thing, with all that said, as stupid as this episode is, I think we might have gotten past junk food anime this week. Because here's how I've been looking at this show. It's like McDonald's. I like McDonald's. Ain't gonna eat that shit every day, but once in a while I will. And as I say, once a week I'm not gonna get a tummy ache from that. I think we've gone past McDonald's. This show has as much chance to falling into the bag of Skittles category as it does to being 3-star cuisine. This shit ain't ever gonna be 5-star cuisine. Let's be real. Gordon Ramsay's never gonna put his signature seal of approval on this. But you know what? This episode's kind of like a mom and pop diner. Is it fancy? No. Is the presentation the best? Not really. But is the food pretty filling and you feel like, yeah, I could come back here a few times a week? Absolutely. This show, I would completely understand if I continue to see like a 6 out of 10 rating all throughout the board. But if we're being real, I think for the first time this show's gotten into a 7 out of 10 rating. I think it was the best produced. There's moments where the animation was legitimately pretty good, especially when he's doing his little spell casting. Of course, if you have that animation in a One Punch Man episode, it'd be considered the most dog shit thing known to man, but we know what it is. At the end of the day, I leave pretty satisfied. If they do this for the rest of the season, I'm going to be a very happy camper. And of course, you got this far in the video. Make sure you drop a like, show your support, subscribe if you're new around here, and yes, Patreon for live reactions and exclusives to all these episodes and more if you also want to help fund the channel and videos just like these. And of course, as I keep mentioning, giveaway, if you join the Patreon before the end of the month, you get entered in a 1-year subscription to the Patreon, so great time to join. So, school arcs in anime. Honestly, I don't even know what the mass opinion is for them anymore. Because I think prior to like Mushoku Tensei, everyone would always like collectively roll their eyes like, oh my god, it's a school anime, blah. And like, I don't know, man. Like, there's a lot of cringe to school anime, especially school magical anime, and lack of threat and danger. But they're honestly, I don't think as bad as people make them out to be, but I also think it's harder to find like the magnum opus among them. But a show that's as goofy and silly as this, especially when bro like basically punches off the secretary's head in the first day of going to class. I mean, you know you're gonna get something fun, but I think this episode really shows that they're doing something both competent and silly with the school dynamic in a way that even I wasn't expecting. The concepts of him being like, oh yeah, I don't want to go to class. Oh, okay, you know, I need to know notes. All right, I'll probably pay some people for their notes. Like just all the stuff you kind of expect. But like there's enough humor that you're like, okay, this is going to be entertaining. But where it really shines is actually in the more serious elements. So the way they've been exploring magic in this world, I've really liked. People still are like, oh man, he must have a class. He has a hidden class. He got the jack of all trades class. I don't believe that. I truly believe this world operates in the way that classes are a thing. And maybe plenty of people could be classless if they didn't, get pushed into a box at an early age. I don't know. But I truly believe he doesn't have a class. And the reason that works for him is because, like our own bodies, right? We have the ability to learn anything. Some things are going to be harder to learn than others. For Arrow, magic was that thing. So maybe you're more gifted with computers and you struggle with more hands-on mechanical stuff. Doesn't mean you can't learn it, it'll just be more of a struggle in your own life. Just we as humans, we tend to gravitate towards the thing that we're better suited for. And I think that's kind of what this world represents, because the idea that, they're so like, hey, we don't have to really learn a lot of things. We just have spells memorized in our head, so it's easy for us when we're writing it down on a board to make a mistake. But for some like Arrow, who has to actually chant that all out in his head, he needs to know the formula 100%. It honestly reminds me of when you go to school. When I grew up, plenty of people when I was in like public school, man, they were gifted, or at least they were presented as gifted. They didn't have to try at all. And when they got to high school, they sucked ass at class because they never had to learn how to try. Because the curriculum was not really suited for how advanced they were at a young age, so they didn't get challenged at a young age. So when it came time to actually having to learn to study, they kind of just gave up. It's kind of like that. Arrow has always had to struggle and to force himself against the wills of this world. And watching how they're handling it is really competent writing, because that moment with the teacher, man, he's like, bro, you don't got any safety precautions on this. Like, the spell works. And honestly, it reminds me of programming. When I was in school, both when I started in high school and when I went to college and stuff, like, it's really interesting because there's a lot of ways to make things work, but you can see you don't have the safety precautions. You can see how it's going to crash. You can see how it's going to slow down a program, right? And I think that's kind of what his spell represents. And for him, he's like, I don't care if I experience pain. As long as I don't die from it, I'll be okay. But the idea of having those safety precautions and making it a more elegant, efficient spell is stuff he can learn. Will he? It's hard to say. He's going up to grade 2 now, so we'll see what happens. But there's actually a lot of competence in the writing this week. And I think it's why I'm not going to label it as junk food. I'm going to meme it to hell that he basically put a Minotaur on the casting couch and call him daddy, because the show is still dumb and funny. But in terms of the actual magical world building side of things, I think they're actually making it fairly competent. And if they do this for the rest of this anime, I will actually be dying to watch a season 2. Up to this point, I could have gone either way. I would watch it, I would easily have fun, but if I never heard from it again, it is what it is. I'm at a point now where I'm saying, no, for the love of God, I'm thinking I need a season 2. This is actually getting good. Let me know what you thought, though, down below on this week's episode of A Minotaur and a Couch. Drop a like, share your support, subscribe if you're new around here, and yes, Patreon for live reactions and other exclusives. Like I also like to give video shoutouts to those wonderful patrons. So today we got Doc, Tyron, Danny Boy, Simon Lau, GreedX23, Neil Vickers, Jetty Stiegel, and we also have Matt Barker. So I appreciate the support. Please take care, and y'all have a good one.